Hi, it's MJ Callaway, and I am coming from my tiny bounce up studio today. And I am excited to have a special guest in the studio. And this is our next contributor in the book 21. And think of it as WON instead of the number 21, 21. And today's guest is Suzanna Masartis. Welcome, Susanna.
Hi, MJ. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too. Now, Susanna, before we get started, may I share a little bit about you with our viewers?
Of course.
Thank you so much. So Susanna is a consummate professional whose career spans more than 25 years of progressive nonprofit experience. And that's saying something. Over the last 2.5 decades, she has grown to really know the community and learn the value of relationships. So love that, because relationships are so important within, whether it's a corporation or whether it's a nonprofit. However, it's even more crucial with nonprofits, because you rely on sponsors and volunteers. Now, Susanna, what is the nonprofit you are with?
So our nonprofit is the Community Liver Alliance, and we're headquartered here in Pittsburgh, PA, in Station Square.
Now, are you a local nonprofit, or are you a nonprofit that is national?
Well, we just expanded to become a national organization at the beginning of this year. So our journey has been really quite interesting. We were part of a national liver organization for many years, and in 2012, we spun off to create the Community Liver Alliance, and it just took off like wildfire. First, we thought we would be right here in Western Pennsylvania, but we grew across the state, across the region, and now across the nation.
And it's so much fun because you are in Station Square, because it is a historic area in the Pittsburgh region. So with it being, and you've been with this organization for all of your 25 years?
Well, it's been many other organizations, starting off with my consulting firm, and then the Dollar Energy Fund, which is an amazing organization here in Pittsburgh, and then the American Cancer Society, and then I led to the Community Liver Alliance.
Oh, awesome. Now, and you've been through a number of organizations, and with each step, I know from my own experience, we build upon what we have learned, because every organization is different. So we can take pieces from each of them. Now, what is your position?
I'm the CEO now of the organization. I started out as the executive director, but since we've added staff and we're able to grow, we decided that I would move up to a CEO position, which I'm very proud of.
Oh, absolutely. And congratulations. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Now, as the CEO, I can't imagine what the pandemic did. Maybe threw some challenges your way or some roadblocks. How did you manage through the pandemic as being the CEO of a nonprofit organization?
Well, that's a great question. In fact, I was thinking about that last night, and when the pandemic hit, I was actually in North Carolina speaking at a conference, and it was a week-long conference, and all of a sudden things started happening really quickly. So I was happy to get back home, but we started thinking, what were we going to do? We couldn't be in person. We had all these events and programs planned, as you do, and so we were pushing these events and programs into the middle of the year, and then quickly realized that we were going to have to go all virtual. So we really embraced the technology, and through that technology and through being nimble, we were able to actually this year raise more money than we ever did before and expand into a national organization through our ability to leverage the technology.
That's amazing, because a lot of organizations lost their funding. A lot of corporations pulled back funding. So to be able to do that in any year, but especially during a year that was as fluid as what 2020, that's amazing.
Thank you.
What would you say has helped with that, or has given you maybe a push in the right direction to be so successful during such a fluid economy?
Well, I will share my secret sauce with you, MJ. It is all about those relationships that we talked about earlier. You know, it's not one or two people that move a mission forward, whether it's a nonprofit or a corporation or a small business. It's really about the whole team, the whole village, so to speak. And so, you know, we've leveraged our relationships. And actually, you know, during the pandemic, you know, some COVID money came available, and we were invited to apply for monies that other organizations weren't, simply based on those relationships and the work that we do. You know, we were, you know, a group that funders wanted to invest in.
Oh my goodness. And it goes back to that relationships. Now, Susanna, I had started in corporate, and then I went to nonprofit, and then back to corporate. And I had found when I was in nonprofit, sometimes the people above me didn't, and I was in management, didn't always consider nonprofit as a business. What are your thoughts about that?
I've seen the same thing, and it is a business, and we approach it as a business. We have a strategic plan that we follow, but the good thing about our organization is that we're very nimble. You know, our strategy is different than most nonprofits, and because myself and our staff and our volunteer leadership have been in this space for such a long time, we understood what it really takes to move and propel a nonprofit forward. But I think more importantly, we knew what not to do. And sometimes you just have to flip that coin and think about what doesn't work, because we don't want to duplicate that. We don't want to find ourselves in the same spot, because, as you know, many organizations have, you know, had to furlough people, have had to reduce the amount of programs and services that they offer to the community. And those needs don't stop. Even during a pandemic, they actually increase. So because we're lean and mean and very nimble, we were able to achieve our goals and really grow to greater heights than we even imagined.
Oh my goodness, I love that, lean and mean. I met someone once a few years ago at a conference, and he's a well-known speaker. And I had asked him, I said, what is one tip that you have taken with you through your 25 years in the speaking industry, which, you know, it's an industry that was really hit hard during the pandemic. And he said, MJ, I've stayed lean. So I love that you said lean and mean. Could you give our viewers, or maybe somebody who isn't a nonprofit, an idea of an area where you have stayed lean and mean, so that you could stay nimble and you could keep everybody on staff?
Sure. You know, I think some of the things that we always employ, you know, regardless whether it's a pandemic or not, is to, you know, really understand the value of the money, whether you're raising it through a nonprofit organization or through your business. You have to really respect that and think strategically. We don't have a lot of overhead, and not just in a virtual world, but generally, there's no reason to have a lot of office space or fancy office space, but also it's about cobbling together these strong teams. Oftentimes, you also don't really need full-time staff for these jobs. You can get better talent when you work with consultants and leverage the talent and the people that you know when you need them.
And that was insight that you had. Is it because you had that from being in a consulting role prior that you had that insight?
I think so, but being in this nonprofit space, it's very competitive. There are so many amazing organizations, particularly in our region. We're very philanthropic, as you know. When you think about the demographic of philanthropy and the size of our city, we are unmatched across the nation. And so it is competitive. So you always have to be different. You always have to think of, you know, being relevant and responsive. But I think that translates not just into the nonprofit world, but, you know, you look at all the restaurants that are out there and how it was hit so hard. And we rely on our industry, restaurant and hospitality industry, for a lot of our different events, especially our culinary events. And we were actually able to create a virtual culinary event from the one that we usually have in person. And it was very successful. We were able to meet our goals, and people really had fun with it. We were dubious, but we made it work.
Oh, could you share what that event was, especially because it was successful, to give others an example of how you can go from on-site to virtual and be successful?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So it's called the Steel Chef Challenge, and this would have been our 8th annual. And we typically do it at a hotel, and it's a really cool event. It's like an Iron Chef parody where there are tables of 10 guests, and a chef will cook a unique meal, a 4-course meal paired with wines and yummy desserts. But it's a challenge. So there's a secret ingredient, there is a floor reporter, and we have celebrity judges, lots of the folks, Chris Fenimore and Brian McCollum from Pittsburgh Restaurant Week, and they score, and there are awards. Now, it is tongue-in-cheek, it's not a serious competition, but we were able to pivot, and we didn't have the competition this year, but we were able to gather 11 restaurants that were still willing to work with us. And Cisco, our food partner, donated the food and the takeout containers. And what we did was we had the guests pick up their multi-course meal with wine in fun bags and take it home. They had flowers, they had wine, they had candles, they had great food, all kinds of fun things in this bag. And they had their meal at home. And we had a virtual program with speakers and an auction. Yeah, so it can work. It really can. You just have to think creatively.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I talk a lot about improvise, do what you can with what you have. And you are a prime example. Your organization's a prime example of taking what you have and making it better.
Thank you.
Now, we have something else in common. And that is we both have a word of the year. So could you share with our viewers, what is your word of the year?
Our word, our hashtag is fearless. We're fearless females, aren't we, MJ?
We are.
We have 19 other fearless females in our cadre for this amazing 21 book. I'm really proud to be a part of it.
And for our viewers, it does launch on April 21st, and it will be available exclusively on Amazon. Now, with Fearless, so can you share a little bit more about why Fearless? And I do believe you share it in your chapter too. Why is Fearless so important to you?
Well, I think it takes the strength inside of an individual. It is a passion. And I think the passion is what brings the fearlessness out in us. We can do this. If we put our minds to it, if we have a great plan, we can make it happen. It's about bringing that from your heart. And my chapter is titled, as you know, A Servant's Heart. I've been in the nonprofit space for many years with many great organizations, and I've learned so much. And not just from the people that I served, but from the people that served with me. I've had many great mentors over the years in these organizations and the missions, and I feel very grateful to be a fearless female. And we need to continue to show other fearless females that come after us how to be fearless.
Also say it's setting the stage for those coming up as a role model, and also giving them the strategies and the techniques and tools for them to be a fearless female.
Absolutely. It's about being inclusive. It's about reaching out. We're stronger together. I firmly believe that in everything that we do. And I'm a girl's girl. I support women 100%, and especially the young women coming up. I'm so proud of my daughter, and I look forward to what my granddaughter's going to bring, and all the women around us. We're lucky to be together, to have each other.
We have definitely, and this is so cliche, and I can't believe I'm saying it, we've definitely come a long way.
Baby.
Thank you for throwing that in. Susanna, this has been such a delight. Thank you for sharing your servant's heart with our viewers. Look forward to reading your chapter in the book, because I have not had a chance to do so. Now, is there any last word you would like to leave with our audience?
Yes. So what I'd like to say is follow your passion. Follow your heart. You will find success if you do what you love, and do it for the right reasons and the right way. I promise you, and always be fearless.
Susanna, can you share how others can reach out to you? What is the best way for you?
Sure. You can email me at Susanna@communityliveralliance.org.
And to our viewers, thank you for joining us today. And remember, have a bounce up day.